welcome to today's just kind of overview of what you're doing. It's not so much a lesson as it is just here are the instructions for it. So you're doing a little project, and by little I mean you're doing it today. You're going to be done. And it's this: you are going to draw your own graph and draw your own function, and you're going to write a story that goes with it. So let me kind of show you. Let me do some side examples before we look at the one that's on there. Let's say we have this graph here, and if I look at my units here, I got time in minutes, and I got distance from car. Well, I see our distance from the car went up, and then the car went down as time progressed. So maybe my story here would be my brother Joe and I ran out of gas, and so we had to run down. Man, this is really fast. Someone went 8 miles in 7 minutes. So maybe the situation is my brother Joe and I ran out of gas on the side of the road, and we're trying to get someone to get us help, and someone finally pulled us over. It was on the interstate, I guess, and they drove us down to the gas station. 8 miles in 7 minutes. And we got a gas tank and drove directly back. And somehow getting gas tank was instantaneous. So maybe it was a drive-by. So this is getting more and more interesting. Someone is able to drive 8 miles in 7 minutes, stop on a dime, pick up a gas tank, and then drive back at that same speed to get back to the car. So now it's a little bit more interesting of a story. But yeah, this is a possible story. Ooh, maybe the person helping you go get gas is Superman, and he just flies straight over the gas station, get the gas tank, and then fly right back. So yeah, now it's even a cooler story because it's a gas superhero. I think that's what makes a good story, right? Right? You just draw superheroes and now it's good. Seems to work for Disney. Anyway, here's another one. Let's say I got daily cost here, and I'm gonna just delete this business up here. We're gonna make up our own story. Number of tennis balls. Okay, so the number of tennis balls is going up, by the way. It continuously goes up. And it's not like the graph goes right and then left. It just goes to the right. And then the daily cost of these tennis balls. So they start by costing $10 a piece. What? Anyway, and then the cost is going down as the number of tennis balls increases. But then for some reason, the cost of the tennis balls is going up. So this is probably sort of optimization problem. So maybe it's the daily cost of making the tennis balls on a specific machine. Right, the cost of the machine goes down because it's getting more efficient, but as you overdo it on the machine, maybe you start getting lower and lower in quality as you go too fast for the machine you're working with, or maybe the worker you're working with, and so the cost of making those goes up because you make so many bad ones, it undoes it. So yeah, maybe that's my story here. Is some dude got a new machine for making tennis balls, and he's making them. And he realizes that when he's only making one tennis ball, it's not very cost effective. But as he starts making more and more, he's like, oh, it's getting more and more efficient. And then he starts making them faster and faster and faster, and he starts getting tennis balls that are going bad, or just they need to throw them away because they're not good. And so the cost for those making those tennis balls is going up. And so, yeah, there's my story. So hopefully by seeing those couple of examples, you see kind of what's going on. Here's this graph from this story. It talks about velocity, which by the way is speed, but with some sort of direction. And it looks like his speed goes up pretty fast. Maybe it says miles per hour. Nice. So he's going 12 miles per hour, which is pretty good speed. Stays at that pretty constant. And then goes down sharply. He's constant for a while, so he stopped. If your velocity is 0, your speed 0, you're stopped. Goes back up, constant for a while, and goes back down. And then for some reason his speed goes negative. That would be like he's going backwards. And then he's at a pretty constant velocity going backwards. and then he speeds back up and stops for a while, catches his breath, and then goes fast, and then stops. So here's an example of a graph, and I was just kind of making up a story along the way, but there's an actual story. It's about Bobby. He's riding his longboard and to school and back every day, which he rides as fast as he can, about 12 miles per hour. On Friday, he left school at 3, got on his longboard and head home. At about 3:09, he had to stop at a traffic light for a minute. Oh, so that's this part. He had to stop for about a minute. And then he could keep going. Around 3:18, he saw his neighborhood bully, Dan. Dang it, Dan. And he let's see. He was afraid to steal his longboard, so he rode back down the street a couple of minutes where Dan couldn't see him. So that's why this speed here is negative. He's going the opposite direction. He waited a couple more minutes, hoping Dan would go by then. And then when he was gone, he went even faster than before, and he got home. All right, awesome. So there's our story. And this is an example I want you to do on yours. So on the back here, you have a blank grid. And I want you to draw your own function, and then down here, I want you to write your own story. You may notice there's there's a number of lines there. I would like for you to fill up those lines with your story. Use like real sentences, periods, punctuation, that sort of stuff. Practice your writing. But in your function, I want you to have at least 5 different parts that go up, down, horizontal, whatever. I want 5 distinct sections. If you look at this one, it says... we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is kind of each different part here tells a different thing, and I want you to do that as well. You should have some parts that go up, some parts that are constant, some parts that go down. You can have some parts that go negative. I just want 5 distinct parts, and then write your story to go with it. Your story can be about whatever. On your x-axis here, I do recommend you do something like time. Perhaps it's in minutes or it's in hours, whatever you use. If you do seconds, that's something happening fairly quickly. But yeah, I'd recommend you make that time. And then this can be like altitude. This can be distance from car. This can be the cost of your lasagna. Or this could be the sales of your lasagna. Maybe you're doing well, and then something terrible happens at the factory, and your sales go down, and then they resurrect, and you make the best lasagna ever. Whatever it is. This is not good enough, because it only has like 3 distinct sections, but that's what I'm looking for. And I'll just show you a few other examples. This is an example of some magic tree, I guess. It's the story of the magic tree. And the magic tree was growing, and then someone came in and cut it down. At least not down all the way to the ground. But, maybe they cut it for wood, and they left a stump. And then it's a magical tree, so it kept growing and growing and growing. And then someone was like, oh no, it's a magical tree, burn it, it's a witch tree. So they burn it. Again, not all the way to the ground, there's a little stump there. What does that say? I can't really read that. But it says something. It's constant for a while, so maybe it rests until all the people are not scared of witch trees anymore. And it starts growing normally. Maybe this is like growing this fast in like minutes, and so it's like, maybe I should grow slower, and it slows growth. And then a wizard comes in and is like, hey, witch tree, you're gonna be big. And so he came in, there was magical growth, so it was like really fast growth, practically instantaneous. And then here it says princess came out. Alright, so yeah, the princess came out of the tree has birthed a princess, and then it deflated. Okay, so yeah, the tree just kind of, and it's gone. So, yeah, there's an example of a story about a magic tree, growing and up and down and whatever. So your story can be ridiculous if you want it to be, and I'm totally fine with that. Just make your story awesome or super boring. Both good. Just make sure you have a graph, a function with 5 distinct parts, and you write about it. I want you to, there should be 5 sentences describing what each part relates to. So there you go. Good luck. Have fun with it. You can even share with a neighbor once you get it figured out.